Hey everyone, Neil here. This is a special episode of the podcast where Corey and I are going to give you our initial opinions of the new Mortal Kombat film that just released this past Friday. We also tapped some of our friends to send in their thoughts about the movie, so you'll hear those as well. Now, we originally recorded this as part of a larger episode, but due to just chaotic scheduling and life shit, we decided to split this off into its own episode. And while we don't break the movie down in detail like we normally do on this show, we definitely talk about major plot points and events. So if you haven't seen the film yet and you don't want it spoiled for you, this is your official spoiler warning. Now, let's just get right into it.
MK Podquest.
So, Neil, you were telling me you're drinking a Coke with coffee.
Yes.
One of the patron drinks of the podcast, I think. I'm yet to try it, but based on past experience, I think that's just, it's right in line with Coca-Cola Zero Sugar Energy Cherry Energy Coke Zero Sugar Energy. And you had quite a revelation about the drink. Could you tell me more about that?
I think Coke Energy and coffee products might be my arcana.
And I have there's a very important distinction we have to make. Do you think it activated your arcana, or it is like you can shoot it out of your hands? Like,
I think my blood is just Coke Energy at this point. Like,
what does that give
I have Coke
you?
Energy blood.
So we've got like fire hands and laser eyes and being a wife guy. What do you bring to the table now that you have Coke coffee for blood?
Mostly restless sleep and
right, a superpower if ever there was one.
Just running on fumes for too long and forgetting to eat meals over the past 2 weeks.
Right. So what we've discovered for me is my Arcana activation code is technical difficulties. And what it activates is an unflinching, never-ending rage. And apparently that's all you need. It's a little wink wink nudge nudge. I'm a little Kano in that way.
You've had a rough go of it. Jesus first.
Yeah, I'm so mad all the time.
Let's talk a little bit about so all right. What's up, gamers? We haven't used that one in a while.
That's true.
We gotta talk about Mortal Kombat 2021, don't we?
There's a whole new film out.
Because you, Corey, spent $25 whole dollars watching this thing?
Motherfucker, I spent 25 entire Canadian dollars on renting this film premium video on demand. And, like I said, technical difficulties are my arcana. What do you think the quality of the film was? I don't mean like cinematically or like narratively or whatever, but like visually, resolutionally.
It's 2021. You wouldn't expect anything less than 1080p. You'd think 4K by default, right?
You'd think 4K by default 2021, at least 1080p. You're right. What if I told you the movie was in 480p?
Oh.
I watched this shit on a fucking iPod Classic.
That is Mortal Kombat Conquest resolution right there.
I would have been better served fucking using a flip book.
Just
fucking hand drawn, real clear, real clean lines.
No
dialogue.
Do you think it affected
Fuck.
your opinion about the movie?
No. Maybe in only the slightest of ways. I don't know if like any of my aesthetic feelings are going to be influenced by the fact that I was watching it through a clouded window. But yeah, I'm really mad about that. I was so mad I made an angry tweet screaming sweet nothings at YouTube into the sky, hoping that someone would hear me just to, validate my frustration at the fact that I watched this movie in like piracy quality when most other countries can just watch it for free, and I paid $250.
You watched the cam version.
You could buy most of Mortal Kombat Conquest with that money.
You really could. I think
I think you
could buy the whole thing, couldn't you, for that?
Roughly.
And you know what?
Probably pretty close.
I'm going to get out in front of it right now. I didn't hate this movie, but that'd be a better way to spend your money.
If you had to spend $25 and somebody put a big hammer to your head and was like, a Mortal Kombat piece of content has to be watched with this $25. I'll tell you right now, for 2 reasons, it should be Mortal Kombat Conquest. 1, it's better than this movie. 2, you get a companion podcast for free.
Yeah, that you could also choose to contribute money to. If you wanted, the link to that is in the description of every episode.
You could pay us 25 Canadian dollars right now and get more for your money, at least in terms of like amount of time, than Mortal Kombat 2021 could possibly provide.
That's right. Quantity over quality.
We're a value.
Hey, up top here.
Yeah.
Spoilers for Mortal Kombat 2021. I don't know how deep we're really going to go into it, but if you haven't watched it... We shouldn't
have to warn you. We're talking about it. We're going to talk about all the secret characters that are in the movie.
Yeah,
you know,
hidden secrets to Mortal Kombat 2021.
We're going to... Mortal Kombat 2021 ending explained YouTube video. We're going to talk about the mocap cameo. We're going to talk about when Ed Boon jumps on screen and starts screaming random conspiracy theories into the camera. They have to get him off the camera.
We're talk about that scene where meat showed up, but for some reason the movie changed it to like just raw chicken breasts.
Right. We're going to talk about the movie's weird... Because everybody's like, where's Johnny Cage in the movie? Where's Johnny Cage in the movie? I want to see the man punch the boys in the balls and dick. And it's like, okay, we don't have him. But weirdly, there is a character named... James Fence, and he just gets beat up a lot, but like not in a funny way. Like it's like they're taking the concept of Johnny Cage as a character and like actively murdering it over and over.
James Fence.
That's correct.
Proud of that one?
No. Also Art Lean is in the movie.
We're going to talk about Art Lean later.
I'm going to tell you right now that that dude that Cole Young fights at the beginning should have been Art Lean.
Should have been Art Lean. Absolutely. Yeah. All right. So, yes, listeners.
Mjolnir? Are we doing it that way?
No, this is just going to be a conversation here. I do want to say we're going to go. We got some audio submissions. So we originally planned to have our new friend of the show, Damion Damaski, on to talk about this with us. But scheduling wise on my end and Corey's end, we just weren't able to get that together. So I want to lead off here with a message that I asked Damion to send in about his thoughts on the film. So yeah, let's check in with Damion.
Sure.
Hello, my name is Damion Damaski, and welcome to Damion's Dominion, or whatever. Anyway, I'm a film news editor at Arrow in the Head and a writer and video editor for Joe Blow Videos, and Neil has kindly asked me to give my quick thoughts on the recent Mortal Kombat film, which, as of this recording, came out last night. So, true story, when I was in college, I actually wrote a paper about how Mortal Kombat Annihilation was a better movie than Chinatown, and even got an A on it. That's because it was discussing the idea of subjectivity versus objectivity, how the standards we construct as objective, which in terms of filmmaking included things such as the 180-degree rule and rule of thirds in cinematography, the basic structure of storytelling, i.e. introduction, rising action, climax, resolution, internal consistency, construction compelling character arcs, etc. And that's all important as a basis for a foundation of critique. We've been grasping and chronicling what it takes to tell a good story since at least Aristotle and his famous Poetics. And with film, we have been playing around with the rules of the cinematic form since its inception. Within the first few years, cinema escaped the norms of the proscenium and started introducing the idea of close-ups, continuous editing, and even subjective framing, such as low angles denoting power and high angles denoting fear, etc. Things all new to the relatively nascent art form, which has been solidified in the ensuing decades. So with that in mind, how can Mortal Kombat Annihilation be better than Chinatown? Well, because anything prescriptively considered better is ultimately subjective on its face. For instance, Stanley Kubrick is famous for centering his characters in the center of the frame, rather than in a third, to give off a sense of unease to the audience. It's technically objectively wrong, but it also is done purposely for effect. Same as storytelling in surrealist films, going back as early as 1928's The Seashell and the Clergyman, or most of David Lynch's oeuvre, which don't always necessarily contain basic screenwriting tenets, such as logical consistency or characters and story arcs, and instead utilize evocative imagery to provoke specific feelings and emotions rather than tell a conventional story. Are those films bad because they don't conform to rigid objective criteria? So in the paper, I argue that while Chinatown was a better constructed film in the conventional, i.e. objective sense, I nonetheless still enjoyed Mortal Kombat Annihilation more, and that its supposed objective failings, i.e. dangling plot threads, inconsistent character arcs, incomplete special effects, and continuity errors, didn't deter me from the enjoyment I subjectively got from it. I, of course, was drawing upon my own nostalgia of the games and my love of action fantasy films, but to be fair, everyone brings their own experiences to their appreciation and understanding of any work of art, and especially of films. Because no one experiences anything in a vacuum, it's frankly useless to claim otherwise. Critiques and analysis should be a conversation, being able to look at any work of art through different perspectives and lenses. It certainly shouldn't be used to prescribe an objective quality to something, and instead rather should be used to bring a fuller or at least new and unique understanding of it. Because different people bring different perspectives, and even disagreeing with those perspectives helps you deepen your own understanding of it as well. Now, what does this all have to do with the recent Mortal Kombat reboot anyway? Well, it objectively sucked.
Wow. Okay. Welcome to Damion's TED Talk. He is here to teach you about the entire history of cinema and also viciously dunk on Chinatown.
And Mortal Kombat 2021.
I think it's important to emphasize that man just spent 3 minutes talking about mostly unrelated information specifically to set up a dunk that he couldn't even find it in his heart to subjectively like the new Mortal Kombat movie.
I got nothing. I got no response to that.
No, I mean, people just take that in your heart, do what you will with it. Thank you, Damion, for that, because it was frankly a lot more, just period, like capital M more than I was expecting, and I think that's fun.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you didn't like it.
It's a good bit, and I really want to talk to Damion more about this film in the future.
Yeah, it is endlessly funny that he's doing that thing that everyone tells you not to do when doing any essay, where it's like, do you guys want to talk about Aristotle and the dawn of time or whatever?
And hey, as you were saying, this is a free podcast. You guys all just got some free college.
Yeah. Do you guys... Okay, so speaking of, I have had a lot of technical difficulties. I also have a lot of financial difficulties because of my endless schooling debt. Should have just listened to Damion, am I right?
So, Damion was not a fan of this movie. I want to check in with our friend Danny over at the Next Issue podcast, because he had a very different opinion on the film.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right, 3, 2...
Wait.
Hey there, MK Podquest crew, Danny here. I just wanted to send in a message about the Mortal Kombat 2021 movie. I've watched it twice as of now doing this message. I gotta say, the movie it's everything I wanted as a Mortal Kombat fan. There's a few little nitpicks, and it's not like the best movie, it's not the best story, but overall, like, I really, really enjoyed the movie. I hope they keep going with this storyline. I really liked everyone. Got to see some of my favorites, and spoilers, I guess. We get to see Kung Lao, super cool. I'm a little upset at what happens to him.
Yeah, us too.
Me too.
The character of Cole, I think it makes sense in the movie. It's a nice addition to the story. That opening scene with Bihan and Hanzo, is just, I can't believe we were seeing some of that stuff on the screen in live action. I gotta say my favorite fatality was probably Kung Lao on Natara, which I feel bad for Natara. She kind of went out like a chump. There was
this movie's a
all we
Natara
got over
slander.
her character was that Shang Tsung thinks she's hot. Also speaking of Shang Tsung, super extra. I love it. Raiden also amazing. Yeah, this was all super cool, super cool. I wish the only change I would have made. I wish it was instead of Goro that it was Kentaro that Cole defeated. Because I think Prince Goro deserves a little better. But other than that, yeah, excellent movie. Very rewatchable. I'm gonna watch it a couple more times before it leaves the HBO Max. and before I buy whatever collection or steelbook they come up with. Oh, and Reiko felt like what a waste. What a waste of a character. I'm
Yeah,
not. He
not
was
my
probably
middle
the only one
manager.
that I was like, nah, this dude. But the MVP, Kano, and oh jeez, yeah, Kano was really cool. He had the best lines in the movie. Also, Cabal, like Cabal's one of my favorite all-time characters. So the fact that he was so well done in this movie, I really like that. I hope to see him back. I mean, I know anybody can come back in this universe, so hopefully he'll be one of those people. Other than that, I love the movie. I can't wait to watch it with everybody, with the crew, on the Discord, because I think we're going to have a really good time. So yeah, take care, guys, and finish him.
Okay, so not only do we have at least 2 listeners whose names start with D, but they have very differing opinions on
Right.
the new Mortal Kombat film. Danny's like all in, man. He's going to buy the steelbook. He doesn't even know what it is yet. It might be ugly and bad.
He's already got it pre-ordered, I bet.
He set the money
Yeah.
aside in a jar labeled Mortal Kombat movie money.
Yeah. So I wanted to play those two back to back. I mean, obviously Damion is not a fan of the movie. Danny is a big fan of the movie. He loved it. He admits it's not a perfect movie, but there was plenty of stuff in it that he liked. I find myself somewhere in between the two of them.
Okay.
And I know that that's a coward's opinion. I'm not trying to be a Mortal Kombat centrist here, but I think that there was some good stuff in this movie that was just... what am I trying to say here?
I'm gonna let you drown here while you figure this out.
There was some good stuff in this movie, but like the frame of the movie was kind of shitty and bad. You know?
I'm just gonna get out in front of this. I think the movie's bad. I know exactly how I feel.
Great. I want to hear. Let's hear what you have to say then.
This is like, what a shockingly bland outcome for everything that we have on the table, in terms
Yes.
of like lore and just options. Like, you could do 100 different things with this, and I'm kind of fine with most of it. But like, this is potentially, as you said, like the worst framing and setup for it. Not just the Cole Young thing. I think Cole Young is fine. Like, sure, put a guy in there. I don't give a shit.
Right.
I don't. Now that I've seen the film, I don't think that character needed to be Johnny Cage. We've kind of gotten the whoa, Johnny Cage doesn't know what's going on already. But like, okay, so here's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
We have an opening like 8 minutes that is based on 2 specific characters, Hanzo
Yes.
and Bihan. The end of the movie is focused very specifically on Hanzo and Bihan. The interstitial part of the movie, by which I mean the rest of the movie,
Yeah.
is just sort of like bringing groups of characters from place to place, and people occasionally end up fighting for vague reasons. Like, people just show up and decide now's the time we're going to fight, or these people are going to go pair off and fight. And
Right.
it's I didn't want to listen to too much of the Mortal podcast episode about this because I didn't want to end up parroting a lot of that unintentionally, but Ben mentioned that it actively says that it is not a tournament movie, but it feels like one,
Right.
in that fights just happen and they don't really seem to push any sort of story forward.
Well, there was that whole line where Cole was like, "They don't want a tournament, but we're going to give them one," and that's when they make Raiden pair everybody off to fight. It's flimsy as shit. I'm not defending that.
But like, because here's the bigger problem. So
Yeah.
there is like 1,600 characters in this movie.
Sure.
The
Well,
movie's interested in 2 of them.
Right.
Those characters are barely on the screen
Right.
because it's
We
not
spend a lot of
it's
time-
not interested in Cole Young, the wife guy who gets sent home after not finding his Arcana and does not even talk to his family before having to fight somebody,
And then go back.
and then just
Immediately.
leaves. It's not fucking Liu Kang and Kung Lao, who are just fucking muscle guys.
Yeah, they are.
It's not Sonya. It's not fucking Kano. Fuck Kano. Real quick, fuck Kano.
Yeah.
Fuck Kano so fucking hard. This movie needed like 80% less Kano.
Yeah.
And look, people are gonna be like, oh, well, that's the point. He's supposed to be like that. No. Demand better from your movies. This shit's fucking annoying. And it's not to anyone's benefit. Fuck you.
I had an issue with Kano too. Kano's a fan favorite in this movie. People are like, Kano was funny. The Kano part was
That's
good.
fucking insane to me. Like, my brain catches fire at the thought of being like, Kano's hilarious. And I'm not being mean to people who liked it, but like, holy shit, I was just seething.
Well, they made Kano like the one who carried all of like the comic relief, for lack of a better word.
Kano does most of the talking, period.
Yeah.
Like,
they should have spread it around a little bit, right? Like, everyone else was like so serious, and then you've just got this dude in there who's just like saying awful shit. And I don't know if he actually did this in the movie, but I imagine if this movie had been made a few years ago, he would have been actively farting in scenes.
Probably. Yeah, so I don't want to just hop around and be like, whatever. So I want to give like an actual cohesive sentence that describes how I feel.
Okay.
So I'm going to do my best to do that. It's very bland. It's also very non-committal. That's the word I want to use. In that it's setting up a lot of stuff. It's clearly banking on more movies coming, but
yeah.
You need to build a movie that can stand on its own without that. That is not guaranteed. But it's part like Avengers movie where you need to get all the superheroes together, and it's part like origin movie, and it's part just fighting movie. And I don't think it's doing any of those things especially well. I'll freely admit some of those things are just things I don't like. Like, I don't watch Marvel movies, really. And I think that I want to encourage people to not see a film adaptation of a video game and say, oh, that's just what these movies are like. Because you're allowed to have your expectations be, this movie should be good, and also about a video game. And
like Sonic the Hedgehog.
The script is like worse than I thought it would be. Not in an offensive way. It's just bland, and it makes strange choices. And what it amounts to is a lot of things introduced, but arranged in a complete non-story. Like, I feel like nobody has an arc. Nobody is like looking for something and achieves it in a meaningful way. And the whole antagonist's angle is so secondary to what it feels like the movie wants the characters focused on, and what characters the movie wants to focus on, that you get a lot of just ancillary noise. And I think if they just made a cohesive, clear decision where it's like, this is our Outworld is usurping the 10th tournament rules movie, fine. Or this is the get everybody's faves on screen, it's the Scorpion Sub-Zero movie, and that will set everything up.
Yeah.
Fine. But you can't do both, and you can't do the 8 things this movie feels like it's trying to do. That's my overall complaint.
I gotcha. All right, I know where to go with my opinion on the movie now. When I finished watching the movie, my first thought was that was fine. There were some cool scenes and some cool fights. Obviously, the Hanzo Bihan stuff was awesome to see. But again, that was what, 11 total minutes of the whole movie, right?
Yeah, and in the trailer.
Yeah, and
a lot of it is in the trailer.
Most of the trailer. But it was still cool to see. And like I'll be the first to admit I'll sit through some dumb shit in a movie just to watch a cool scene. It doesn't take much sometimes to win me over and make me feel like I didn't waste my time.
American Pinea ensues.
I'm thinking more like Jurassic World,
Sure.
the dumbest movie I've ever seen that I love because it ends in a big dinosaur fight, and that's what I'm here for.
Sure.
Because there's nothing good in the American Pie movies.
That was the one thing where you're like, no, I wasted my time.
That and Death to the Supermodels.
Fuck, pour one out.
But when I got and that's the thing, like the movie seemed like it was trying to pull one over on me, right? Because when they get into Raiden's temple, they've got like Kitana's fan on display, and
they've got a bust of Kotal Khan.
They've got Shinnok's amulet. They've got murals with Goro and with fucking Delia and Argus and I'm sure Taven laying on that table. They put my boy in the movie. They put a mural of the great Kung Lao in the movie.
Yeah.
And I'm watching and I'm seeing all that kind of shit and I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool. Hey, that's cool. And then what I'm realizing is the Mortal Kombat shit in this movie is all just props in the background, and it's not actually like
it's
what I'm seeing. It's teasing me with like this.
It wants you to be excited for the
movie.
fourth movie,
right?
Like, and also I want to your point. So is every antagonist.
Yeah.
Because Shang Tsung has no personality whatsoever. Goro has no personality whatsoever. Melina has no characterization or personality whatsoever. Like, they're just, you can point at the screen and go, I know who that is. And that's frustrating.
Cabal got some characterization. That was cool.
He's the fucking worst.
Dude
sounds like he's walking here.
All right, forget about it, Corey.
He got his soul sucked out. I'm trying to get a slice.
It's fun to see characters.
He got his soul sucked out.
It's fun to see these characters in live action. It just is. It's not. I don't need it. Like, okay, so here's my general opinion about movies like this, licensed movies, in particular, when they take the thing and they adapt it to the big screen for the comic book or the video game or the cartoon or whatever the fuck it is, and they make the live action version. There's a novelty. It's fun to see characters brought to life. It's not my primary. It doesn't become the like the thing that makes me a fan of the series, right? Like the Tomb Raider movies are fun. They're not the reason I'm a Tomb Raider fan, right? The Mortal Kombat movies are fun. They're not the reason I'm a Mortal Kombat fan. So when they make the Batman movie, it's like, hey, cool, Batman in live action. That's fun. I'm going to go back to the Batman comic books.
Shouldn't we expect more than this?
Well, I think...
you can't just make movies that's like, this is for this group of people that already like it, that can point at the screen and go, I know what that is. Like,
so that's
our expectations need to be higher than that.
I don't think they're making these movies for the people that already like the thing. They're making these movies... I think that they made this movie for the person who hasn't played Mortal Kombat since Mortal Kombat 3, or with Reiko and Nitara there since Deception, right? I don't think they're making it for the hardcore Mortal Kombat fan. They're making it for the person who's going to go, oh shit, there's a Mortal Kombat movie. I remember Mortal Kombat. I'm going to go see that, right? I mean, think about like the gangbusters money that Sonic made when I don't really know anybody aside from myself who has played like a Sonic game in the past 5 years. You know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, I don't think we're the audience for it. I think, they're trying to attract people with something.
If the people that do the Mortal Kombat podcast are not the audience for your movie about Mortal Kombat, you at least sort of like, because like,
right, but that's what I'm saying.
But like, if it's not even appealing to that group of people, I don't think anybody who is even passingly familiar with Mortal Kombat would like this. I will be surprised to hear about people that do.
Sure,
because it doesn't onboard you at all.
They knew we were going to see the movie anyway. They didn't need to sell it to us. We were already sold by its existence.
They got my $25.
They're trying to they want a bigger audience than just like the two of us who make a Mortal Kombat podcast. You know what I mean? Like they want to get the guy or the gal who thinks Lewis Tan is hot and hasn't played Mortal Kombat.
Okay, actually, really quick.
Since the Sega Genesis.
You just made such an important point.
Sure.
When you said Lewis Tan is hot.
Yeah.
So is everybody else.
It's a hot cast. I think the casting in this was really good.
I think it's really good. I think some of the performances don't live up to how good the casting is.
Sure.
But
a lot of characters are just underserved, don't have enough to do.
Nobody has anything to do, I would argue.
True. Well, I mean, Raiden's busy zapping people all over the place. He had a lot to do.
Raiden fucking sucks in this movie. Anyway.
Joe Taslim had a lot to do.
Yeah. Anyway, I do want to make a couple quick comments because I have a good way to segue this, I think, into something that we get a chance to talk about a lot. I do think the casting is good, even if some of the performances are not. Everyone is extremely hot. Ludi Lin, call me. Thank you. That's my public service announcement. All the costumes are exceptional.
Yeah.
If you're going to put money into anything, if you get to make a relatively large budget Mortal Kombat movie, they put it in the right place. because the
Sure.
costumes all look spectacular.
Yeah.
However, another place you could put money in your Mortal Kombat movie is into fight choreography. The fights are like weirdly bad.
I didn't think that they were that bad. I think that they were filmed kind of poorly.
There's there's more quick cuts than I would have liked because it makes it like
Yes.
even less legible. But like there's not as much to it as the movie sells it having,
Right.
which is underwhelming when you see it because it's got that quick cut problem, like that scene in Taken where there's like 16 cuts for Liam Neeson to hop a fence, and it's like, well, that's simply illegible. But that's definitely an issue here. But I don't know. I found myself underwhelmed by that aspect of the movie. But
Totally. Yeah, I get that.
it's the most it's ever looked like the video game.
Right.
In particular, I think of the Liu Kang and Cabal fight where I'm like, that's Cabal looking like the video game. In a
Sure.
like basically bang on. That's kind of neato, but like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, they did a good job with Kung Lao, I think. I am upset
Kung
that
Lao fucking rules in this movie. Holy shit! I'm so fucking mad that he's dead.
Right.
His reveal is so fucking good.
I'm pissed that they art leaned him.
Yeah.
They made him be the one who dies to
dude,
then rally the
his-
rest of the heroes. That's called art. That's called art leaning from now on.
I have a note that just says all caps, Kung Lao in the fucking building, motherfucker. And then my
Yeah.
note right after that is too much fucking Kano. Fuck. So I was really on a roller coaster of emotion, as I often am on this show.
Sure, yeah.
Shortly thereafter,
Now-
I have a note that just says, Cabal, fucking stop talking.
Now, if we remove, okay, aesthetically, the thing that I didn't like about this movie at all
Outworld.
was the sets. The sets, of which there are 5.
Yeah.
There's like a
God.
gym.
There's a
gym
gym.
slash
Frozen gym I like.
Then there's a house,
House.
a restaurant,
Yes. Temple of
dusty-
Light.
a dusty desert temple, and then an Outworld cliff. And
Outworld
that's it.
looked pretty good in the trailer. Outworld looks like shit.
I was not a fan. If you
Outworld looks like shit because I feel like in the trailer, the shots that they picked make it feel very tactile.
right,
Here it doesn't. It's washed out, and this might be the 480p a little bit talking, because it's washed
Sure.
out. It feels very gray and like septic, but like
yeah, no,
it's also very
that's not
clinical, and like there's just nothing. It's completely
that's not the
sparse.
480p talking. That's the movie.
There's like weird bits of color added, but like it's just blank and gray, and it's like, motherfucker, come on, you could do anything you want. Like,
Right. And you think about the old movie, right? You think about Conquest. Think about the stages in the video games. They've all got a ton of life to them.
I know.
Or death in the instance of Shang Tsung's Island in the movie. But at least it's like visually striking and interesting. And this was just, they spent so much fucking time in that beige cave temple, right?
And I kind of
It
like
was-
I kind of like how it looks. There are aspects of it that I liked.
But they could have given us Raiden's Sky Temple, right?
Yeah,
They
why
could
does he have
given
like a
us-
fucking Tesla coil or whatever the fuck? Like, there's just some weird shit in there.
There is.
Also, Raiden's eyes. That ain't it. that ain't it.
That might be. That didn't bother me. That might be a 480p thing. That shit is crisp in 4K, man.
Goro looks like a fucking World of Warcraft orc.
Yeah, Goro busting out of a garage.
What? Okay, hold on. I didn't expect to get this heated about this movie, but I'm having fun. I'm exaggerating for fun. It's like I'm doing a podcast. But what the fuck was that Goro fight?
My boy deserved better.
Goro, we've sent you to a junkyard to fight a man who turns into an armor suit and will cut you to pieces while ignoring his family. Cole Young's Arcana is being a fucking wife guy who's also a daughter guy, but mostly a wife guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm just yelling now, which I know is not constructive, but it's fun.
I have a pitch for a fix. I want to run this by you
Please.
for this movie. Now, I don't mind Cole Young. I don't mind the new character aspect. I understand what they're going for. As someone who stands multiple new characters to Mortal Kombat, like your Vorpax and your Zero and your Taja and your
God.
Taven
I would
and whatever the fuck else.
have screeched so loud my windows shattered if Vorpax was in this movie.
Right? I got nothing against the new character, and I got nothing against Cole Young, but yeah, making him like the de facto leader after a while felt stupid and shitty and a disservice to the other characters. Here's a pitch. We got bits and pieces of Sonya Blade's story in this movie where she's an outsider to all of this. She's not marked with a dragon scar, whatever, and doesn't have an arcana.
She doesn't have arcana. Well, she does, but she doesn't have an invitation.
Sure, but she gets drawn into all of this kind of stuff as the outsider.
You can't step in the fight pit.
Yeah, they're like, sorry, you're not allowed to play the tutorial mode until the game finishes installing on your hard drive.
So fucking dumb, man.
They could have made this movie following, if they didn't want to go the Johnny Cage route, which I get, they could have made this movie following Sonya Blade and Jax more directly as they got into all of this stuff.
Jax's arcana is having arms.
Right.
Which feels fucked up for a lot of reasons. But like, fucking seriously. Anyway, I agree. I think the movie needed to make something the centralized figure that is taking part in a plot, a story. Yeah. Somebody needed a journey with obstacles that we were invested in directly. Not, here's a group of recognizable characters.
Right, but here's the thing. If you want to go the route of recognizable characters, I get that they're like, well, we already did the Liu Kang storyline in the other movies. We don't want to rehash all of that. Okay, cool. Sonya had 3 lines in the first movie. Like,
yeah, I know. I think this movie does a better job with that, but what I mean is, yeah, like, just Sonya's the one who clearly has the most going on here. Yeah. Just
she had a lot of stuff going on.
Centralize it. Make it the focus of the film. Don't make the opening 10 minutes of your movie fucking, do you want to watch Scorpion's family die? And then the end of your movie is, cool, Scorpion got revenge. Like, bruh.
Right. Yeah, that's what I'm saying too.
The whole middle of the movie's not about that.
Like she was having the same
Cole Young having nightmares.
She was having the same sort of journey as Cole, but she was just having it behind him the whole time, and then switched roles and had to start listening to him about how to do Mortal Kombat movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, I didn't like that.
Sonya is one of the actors. Her name is not in front of me, but I'm going to look it up in a second. Who's giving one of the better performances as well, as far as I'm concerned. So I mean, why not lean into that?
Jessica McNamee.
Yeah, I just also saw it.
She's second build on IMDb.
That's good. Who's top build?
Louis Tan.
Okay. I genuinely wasn't sure if it was going to be Louis Tan or not.
Kano, Josh Lawson is third.
Ugh. And look, okay, I'm not mad at Josh Lawson. He's doing exactly what he was asked to do.
He's doing a Kano.
I think he was asked to do something that should be illegal. But he's doing what he was asked to do. And I can't fault him for that.
I want to leave this discussion on a more positive note. I just want to say I'm a big believer in, if you like a movie, you should just be allowed to like it and not feel attacked for liking it. So
sure.
Everyone out there who enjoyed this movie, great. I'm glad that you did. And everyone out there who hated this movie, don't be a dick about it.
Yeah, please. And to that point, I've been slightly hyperbolic for entertainment value. If you liked it, good. Somebody had to. I'm glad it was you, because I didn't.
I enjoyed it enough that I will watch it again. I don't think this is going to be my go-to thing when I want to pop in something fun, Mortal Kombat related to watch. But this movie was not offensively bad to me.
I'm a hypocrite. I would watch it a second time with people.
It was fine, and there were some parts in it that I really liked. I thought the reptile thing was actually pretty cool.
What the fuck is like Skyzoth?
Scyzoth, that's his name. We've talked about that. We talked about that on a Mythologies episode.
I'm willing to bet we did, but like they use that so rarely. And also in the show they call him Reptile that I was like, what the fuck is Scyzoth?
They only named him Scyzoth in Mortal Kombat 10, so it's not like
that's new lore.
Long term. Yeah, that's new lore. That's not our reptile.
Every time Sub-Zero shows up and it's also got like Noob Saibot goo or like smoky goo into that. I'm
into Sub-Zero.
Bo Right Show name drop into that.
I think he was a great villain, like a stalking villain, Sub-Zero in this. I thought that was cool.
I almost wanted more of that. Like maybe Sub-Zero's just like tracking him down like that big lady in the new Resident Evil game.
Go full horror with Sub-Zero just tracking down warriors and murdering them.
Yeah.
Like just run through a bunch of like Joes and Bills and all of these other chosen people until we like land on somebody who has a chance.
Yeah.
You know?
Cole Young.
Yeah.
There you go.
You know, everybody's favorite Mortal Kombat character,
Cole Young. Yeah, there's stuff that I like in this movie. I'm gonna end on something that was pointed out to me by a friend of the show, Jade. It didn't look like they let Ludi Lin drink any water or eat any food, because that dude was vascular. That dude was fucking cut in a way that looked like he was not having a good time.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service.
Yeah, I mean, we don't need to talk about it in too much depth. It's very obvious.
Yeah, I like how the characters look. There's my cool ender.
I would have loved. I mean, and all right, I got to complain about one fucking thing.
Can we stop making the ladies have to fight each other? Why did Melina and Sonya have to fight just because they're girls with knives?
Yeah, well, that's what you do, girl on girl, right? For the boys. One thing, here's my least favorite thing in the movie.
So much for ending on a high.
We're gonna come back around. All right, Mikad Brooks is Jax.
Yes,
really into it. He was great. Love him.
Mm-hmm.
Good Jax. Right. Nathan Jones is Reiko. Hashtag not my Reiko. We all know there's only one true Reiko. It's from Mortal Kombat Conquest. But they made a choice and they went for it. You plop these two guys on a fight in an actual cool looking
in a Mortal
setting.
Kombat stage.
A Mortal Kombat stage. It was the Pit 2 from Mortal Kombat 2, right?
Sure.
Did not end in a pit fatality.
I can't believe they fucking did us like that. Unfucking believable. It ended in something pretty cool, but
sure, Jax got his fatality.
I spent that whole scene going, Jax is about to uppercut this man into a pit.
Yeah, even just like toss the body down there after he smashes the head like a Gallagher watermelon.
Like a Gallagher
right?
watermelon. Actually, I have one good thing to say about Kano. Maybe that's a good note to end on. I was reminded of this in a tweet. I already forget the context for why he says this, but there's a point off screen where you hear him go, wah, wah. That's funny. I don't remember why he said that, but it's funny.
Overall, my final thoughts are the movie was fine. I enjoyed it enough that I'll watch it again. As a Mortal Kombat fan, like, I'm gonna watch it. I watched the live action Street Fighter movie. I watched Dead or Alive regularly. I've seen Tekken 4 times. Like,
this will not stop you in the slightest.
I'm gonna watch this movie, and I'm probably gonna be like Danny and buy it on Blu-ray in the Steelbook edition because I'm a obsessive collector at this point, right?
Just like the Collector, everybody's favorite Mortal Kombat character. Where was he?
Movie was fine. I'm going to be glad to get back to talking about our Mortal Kombat universe soon. Before we move on to that, though, our friend Paul had quite a bit to say about this movie. So much so, he had to send me 3 messages. So let's go ahead and... You want to hear what Paul... Let's go over to the Paul Palace.
Sure.
So, Mortal Kombat 2021. Where does one begin? So first thing I have to address, I'm recording this on the Anchor app, which has like a 60-second time limit, so I've got to be quick. Let me just say, first thing, I watched this in a cinema in Australia, where I can be super thankful that COVID is relatively under control, knock on wood, at this moment in time. Saw it with a fairly busy cinema. Everyone lost their shit over Kano. Kano is 100% quality Australian material. He's the best thing in that film by far. 2, I think overall, like structurally, the film kind of works. I just think the pacing is kind of just a bit off. Like, it feels like it should simultaneously be shorter but also kind of longer. To me, the biggest problem with this film, the most like unresolvable issue to me, is like the whole thing.
What the fuck?
Oh, I guess so. That's where Paul got cut off. So he sent a follow up. They're labeled part 1 and part 3. I didn't get a part 2 from him. I guess we'll just have to go with part 3.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Also, I think they're legally obligated to let Kano down there. I think they go to prison.
Yeah, hopefully this will
help us figure it out.
Tune us into Paul's whole point.
kind of can't wait for the prequel with Shang Tsung and Natara just going at it for 90 minutes straight. Cheers.
Okay. Sounds like a Mortal Kombat Conquest episode, if you ask me.
Man, Paul, I think we lost a little bit of your message there. So
Something got lost in
Sorry,
translation.
Sorry about that, buddy.
That's so funny. Yeah. I do think that their goal here, we might get a prequel at some point. They at least want sequels. They want more of this for sure. And I think they might get it, honestly.
I hope they do. I hope they can, now that they've set up what this universe's Mortal Kombat situation is, they don't have to spend a bunch of time like in tutorial mode showing people how to use their arcana.
Yeah.
And we can just like, yeah, we can explore the lore and shit like that some more. We can get to know the characters.
Maybe get a different writer.
Maybe bring in some classics, some fan favorites
maybe,
like Taja,
maybe
Cabral.
Maybe bring Cabral, make Greg Vaughn play him again, and let Ben Meckler write it.
Yeah. Yeah, let's see what Ben can do with Cabral.
Ben's gonna get the Cabral spinoff that's only about Cabral. And everybody's gonna go, oh, I remember meeting Cabal. And the whole movie you have to go, no. It's not him. Different guy.
You know, Jola's brother.
That's so funny.
Oh,
Fuck. Anyway,
man.
let's cap that off.
All right, that's it. My final verdict on Mortal Kombat 2021. It's fine.
Yeah, go watch it. I don't give a shit. Live your life.
Yeah. Don't spend $25
Please don't.
Canadian to watch it in 480p on YouTube. Take that money and buy Mortal Kombat Conquest instead.
Look, I'm not saying
supposed to be.
I'm not saying
in
there's other
480p.
ways you can watch it if you don't have HBO Max in your country, but also
Hey, I see what you did there. All right.
that was not a legally binding pirate sound. Police do not interact.
Let's
maybe take part of that joke out. I don't know.
Yeah, don't worry. I'll clean it up. Thanks for listening, and special thanks to Damion, Danny, and Paul for sending in their messages. We'll be back next time to talk about the official novelization of the 1995 Mortal Kombat movie, and trust me, you don't want to miss it. There is some bonkers shit in that book. But until then, follow Corey on Twitter at Mr. Corey Price, and check out his other podcast, They Made Another One. And find me on Twitter at Final Neil and Instagram at Final Neil Retro. And follow the show on Twitter at MK Podquest, and make sure you subscribe and give us some 5-star reviews. We could use them.